I am kind of nervous right now. And we have a few casualties. Hey guys, welcome back to Thankfully Packed. My name is Chris, and today I have a ton of repotting to do. I have Alocasias that I'm going to be switching from soil to PON because everybody and their mama suggested it. I have water propagations that have been sitting in water way too long and definitely need to be potted up at this point. And I've got a few other bits and bobs here and there that I definitely want to just put into my own chunky houseplant mix for today. So if you have any repotting or any type of planty chores to do, pause the video, get your stuff, and come back here so let's do it together. Or if you just want to hang out, that's fine too. Okay, first up, these super cute, super adorable Peperomia Piccola Bandas. Okay, so I bought these purposely, two little tiny ones, because I wanted to pot them together, and I think I'm gonna go with this size pot. Makes sense to me. And they're super adorable, but I do want to get them out of the super moisture retaining nursery soil that they're in. I think it's just straight peat. I don't know what this is called, but it's basically has 0 amendments, and I really prefer my chunky mix, or just a chunky mix in general, for most plants in my house plant collection. I just think it helps a lot with drainage and to avoid root rot. So that's what I'm going to be doing with these today. So I don't know if you guys can see, but it's basically just in that straight up soil. For me, that's no bueno. So I'm going to be switching them and potting them together because they are going to be super cute together as well. Also, mines are due for a drink of water. I suggest giving your plants a drink of water at least 24 hours before you repot them, just to avoid shock and messing up the roots too much. But that's just not what is happening today over here. So do as I say, not as I do in this case. Anyways, I think I'm going to be using my own chunky houseplant mix. I just mix it up together and I buy the ingredients separately. So let me show you guys that real quick. All right, so this is my chunky houseplant mix. I think it's soil, perlite. I have orchid bark in here. I have charcoal as well. And I think that's it. So pretty much I keep it in this container just because it makes repotting a lot easier. Just having like a nice slide out drawer. I keep the scoop in there and everything. I pre-make this in batches and I just refill this main tub, which is also nicely portable because sometimes I'm repotting here. Sometimes I'm repotting upstairs in another plant area. So anyway, I just like to keep it like this, and it just makes things a lot easier for me personally. But anyways, let's get started. By the way, if you're curious about anything at all that I'm using today, pots, soil, tools, all that good stuff, I'll link it below in the description. I also have an Amazon storefront where everything is nicely organized by category, such as my houseplant essentials and things like that. And I will also link any non-Amazon sites where I've got discount codes for you guys. Just a quick disclaimer though, most of those links are affiliate links, which means I earn a small commission if you purchase through them. No extra cost to you, totally no pressure, but it does really help support my channel. So there you go. Also, if I miss something, just drop me a comment and I'll do my best to add that link for you. Now I have to give this like a nice good drink of water, and I feel like they'll pretty much perk up immediately, if not within a few hours. But anyways, that is it for this cute little Piccola Banda. Okay, so next up I have 2 different water propagations of plants that I definitely want to get into soil at this point. This one I completely forgot even existed. This is a few propagations of my Philodendron Brasil that I usually have behind me, yes, right here. So this one was on a shelf upstairs in my other plant area. Down here has become my main plant area, so I completely forgot about this one entirely. So it has so many roots going on. Like, this thing looks insane. Anyways, forgetting that it existed obviously did something for it because it has a very nice healthy root system. So I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that switching it to soil won't shock it too much because it looks pretty established already. Anyways, I want to pot it into soil. I was originally going to put it back into the mother plant to create a fuller look, but since then, this one has pretty much filled out on its own. So I think I'm just going to make a second little plant. Awesome for that. Love that. And I also have these Baltic blue propagations, which I put in here a long time ago as well. So you'll see that the roots are pretty long. Some of the leaves are dying off. This one looks a lot lighter than this one, simply because I had this one in just brighter light, honestly, but I am going to put them together. These two, however, I think I'm going to be putting eventually back into the mother plant for sure, because that mother plant has a very, very sparse looking top. So it's got like a few main trailing points and it's all just kind of located on one side. So I think that if I put these in soil, wait for them to get established a little bit more in soil, I can then put it into that mother plant and just have the fuller, bushier, trailing look that I tend to prefer in my collection. But for now, I'm just going to put them in their own little pot and let them get settled in for a little while and hopefully grow out some more. So let's do these two real quick. I don't know, I have a lot of pot options here and a lot of nursery pots as well, but I'm not quite sure which ones to do. Let's see. I think I'm going to be saving these two cover pots for my Alocasias, which I'll show you guys in a little while, but those I think I'm going to be putting in semi-hydro. So if you can see, these will fit right into here perfectly. I can put that little piece of string to wick up the moisture and keep it in PON. So I think that's what I'm probably going to do with this one. So I don't want to use it yet. Little tip, if you're looking for inexpensive cover pots to make a semi-hydro setup, I would definitely suggest going to Dollar Tree and even bringing the nursery pots that you think you're going to use with you while you're shopping and just seeing which ones fit best. But anyway, that is going to be probably for an Alocasia as well. So let's see, what am I left with? I think I'm back to this like basic terracotta looking plastic thing again. So I might be doing that for the, maybe for this Philodendron Brasil, I'll use this one. And for the Baltic blue, I do have a second one. The thing is, I don't know where all my little catch pot trays are. So this was a set that comes with its own little trays, and I have them amongst my shelves, so I can show you real quick. They come with the little tray just to catch any water, which is great, but I can't find them anymore. I don't know where the heck they are, so I'll have to do some hunting around my plant supplies to find it, but I think I'm gonna do this one for this as well. Yeah, probably. Anyways, let's get started.
Okay, does anyone else feel like a little magical wizard whenever they get to pot of propagations they've actually grown themselves? Or is it just me? Like, I swear there's some secret plant magic happening here, because watching these roots I've nurtured just a little bit turn into something amazing like their own tiny little plant is so freaking satisfying. I don't know why, but there's just something about holding a little cutting, giving it a new home, and then like seeing it thrive. It just makes me feel like I've cast a spell, like I am Mother Nature. I don't know. Seriously, it's just a planty kind of magic, and I absolutely love it.
The roots still are above the soil, and I didn't really like that. I didn't think that that would be the best for this plant, so I am going to pot it into a deeper pot. It's a little wider than I would like, but this way, like where I cut it and where the roots started to grow, I can make sure that all of that is actually underneath the soil, because this one's just a little bit too short, I think. So I'm going to redo this potting real quick. Now, do I have a cover pot for this one? I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to end up actually putting this one in, which obviously I will need to put it in something because it's an orchid pot, so it's got a lot of aeration, which is great, but that also means there's a lot of holes, and I don't want to just leave it out like this because a bunch of soil and water will just get everywhere every time I do anything with this plant. So I'll have to find a cover pot soon. This one's not that bad, but if you can see, the root is pretty high up, and I could just chop this, but I don't want to deal with like letting it callus over and all that stuff. But anyway, the root starts all the way up here on this one, but there's some other ones that, like for example, right here, there are roots all the way up to the new growth point, essentially. So I do want to make sure that that is sufficiently buried in the soil and not sticking up in any way. Another example would be right here with these roots all the way up here. I don't want that sticking up, which was the case. The soil was basically down here and this was sticking up, so that just didn't seem like a good idea. So here we are, and I will deal with the cover pot situation shortly. And again, this is not the final home, I hope, for this plant. I believe I am going to end up potting it into the mother plant eventually, so I'm not too worried about this looking a little wonky for a while. Okay, that whole root situation is still happening here with this propagation. Like, the root is so high up, I really don't know what to do with it. But most of them are below the soil level, so I think that is as good as it's gonna get for this one. Let's see if I can find a nice little cover pot. So far I haven't found the cover pots, but I did find my little trays for the ones that look like this. So that's awesome. I can put it with my Piccola Banda, which I already potted up, and then this Philodendron Brasil also needs that little tray just like that. So that's something. Okay, not exactly ideal, but I did find a cover pot that I think will work for now. This is a terracotta, I think, or some type of ceramic situation. Anyways, it looks like this, and I can fit the nursery pot inside, which is what matters. There is a little bit of a gap, but I feel like you can't really tell unless you're looking at it from the top, which really only I do that. But anyway, like if it's sitting on my plant shelf, I feel like this is fine. All right, so that one is done. 1, 2, 3 so far. I think next we'll move on to Alocasias. Okay, so here's the plan. I've got 4 different Alocasias in very different situations. These are all very recent to my collection. However, I have waited long enough to let them acclimate to my surroundings, which I've been told is the way to go for these very, very sensitive plants. So I haven't really messed with them since I've gotten them. And we have a few casualties. First off, I'm just trying to figure out what to do to disturb them the least, yet also set them up for success in my home. So a couple of these are going to get different care than the other 2. So first, let's start off with my variegated Alocasia frydek. This poor thing, when I first got it, looked beautiful. It had a lot of variegation. I think it had about 4 or 5 leaves. I unboxed it here on my channel. I got it from BWH Co. I will put the video somewhere, or I'll link it below. But anyway, this one looked really, really nice when I first got it. However, as you can see, a lot has changed. So this one leaf is the only original leaf that is left, and it's on its way out. And it came in like already super white, so not a lot of chlorophyll, I think, to begin with, and all the other ones just completely, they fell off. Now I do have this one, which is new growth. It has opened up in my care and it's looking okay. I have seen a lot of people just chop it and start over. I don't know, it does have some green, so I might just leave that one alone, and I think this one's gonna just fall off on its own, so I might just leave that alone. Anyway, it's in this really moisture retaining soil, which I've been told over and over again, like I said, is not the way to go. So I do have PON, which I'm going to be rinsing in a second to set it up in one of these self-watering containers. I do have to find a wick, but I think that will be the way to go. Now, another one that I also got at the same time, bam, this is my Alocasia scalprum. So this one I do believe can also benefit from being in PON. It's also in that really like moisture retaining soil. It looks chunky, but it really isn't. It just got a couple of amendments just on top. So I think I'm gonna switch it out. I think this is a corm here. I'm not sure if that corm is still good. It looks pretty dry. I'm gonna set it aside. But this one, this leaf right here, is new and it looks okay so far. The next 2 that I have are actually from someone's personal collection that he grew from corms. And these are the Amazonica and the Jacqueline. I also unboxed these here. The Jacqueline has already dropped a leaf or 2. And I did get this one right here. This one's new growth. This one was already starting to unfurl kind of when I got it out of the box. Yeah, it's looking okay. These other two have a little bit of damage, and this one's basically drooping out of existence right now. But I do want to say I love the soil or the soilless mix that these are in, so I don't think I'm going to be changing it out for pond just because it looks like they're okay. Like these right here look fine to me. This one was one leaf and it's already grown a second leaf, and it looks pretty good in this chunky soil. So I'm going to leave it alone, but I think if I can figure it out, going to add a wick. Maybe I can poke the wick through like the bottom here and then have it sitting in a water reservoir as well. So it is then sort of like in a semi-hydro situation, because I just think that I'm not going to be able to keep up with the watering consistently like Alocasias like to be. I am an underwaterer, so I don't want them to get into like a shock cycle where I'm not watering it soon enough and all that stuff. I can just keep an eye on the reservoir, and I feel like that'll buy me a little bit more time and give me a little bit more of a window. Anyways, first I'm going to start off with the scalp rum and the Frydex. So I'm going to start off with the scalp rum. Is that me with a plant? And what is this?
It's a book.
With a C on it? And what's this?
A camel. This is a little microphone.
Oh my god! And it has my mom necklace.
Okay.
She does look.
So am I doing that?
Unfortunately,
I love this. This is so cute. Okay. Oh, here's another corm. Let's get it out of this soil. Oh, here's another corm. There's another corm right here. I'm finding a lot of corms. I should make sure I label these so I don't forget. I've got 5 corms from that one scalp rum. I did lose what looks like to be a lot of roots, so I am kind of nervous right now. But this is what I've got left. So I'm going to go wash this and rinse my PON as well. I might as well. Let me show you first the PON that I grabbed. Oof. So this is just a nice big old bag of PON. It looks really dusty, so I'm gonna rinse it real quick, and I'm gonna rinse the roots on this scalp rum as well, so I will be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and rinsed as much soil as I could off of the Alocasia scalp rum roots. I rinsed my PON, which is now in this bowl for now. I also found a piece of string that I used before in another semi-hydro setup, so it's a little dingy, but it should work. And I've gone ahead and already kind of pre-strung it through the nursery pot, and then it'll just fit nicely in there. And then I'm just putting all my little corms that I found during the unpotting process in here. So this is the scalp rum. I should probably label it now so I don't forget. But for now, I'll just leave it like this. So it's in this little cup. I'm setting it aside. Probably do something with those later. But I think it is time to finish this up. So let's do it. So now I'm just carefully trying to put the PON around the roots without disturbing them as much as I can. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I've got my wick and my pot, so I think that's it. I think she's good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna set this one aside. I'm running out of space here. Just gonna put it right here. Next is the Alocasia Frydex. So let's see what we're working with here. Okay. A lot more of a root system than that scalp rum had, I will say that. Man, these roots are really, really sensitive. That thing just fell apart. Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick corm hunt here. And I'm finding 0 corms. This might have been one. This one was like the start of one, but not quite. Didn't quite make it there. Yeah, I don't think there's any corms in here. There might be a couple still attached, but I feel like those might end up falling off right now when I go get the soil off of this. Okay, those corms basically just fell off, but again, I think the goal is to get the Alocasia to be in a happier, healthier medium for it. And then, of course, if it's happy, more corms will come, so I'm not too upset about that. But yeah, I'm gonna go give these a rinse and I will be right back. Okay, nice and rinsed. This is what we're working with. Like I said, a lot more of a root system than that scalprum had, which is ironic because the scalprum has a lot more leaves than this poor little Frydek. But let's see, I'm just trying to figure out what pot I'm going to use. Maybe this one. It does look big, but the actual nursery pot isn't, so I think that will be perfect size-wise for the root ball. I mean, it says perfect as it's going to get in my setup. I do need to find a wick, though. I don't know where any of them are. They all came with wicks, but I don't know where they have since migrated to. Okay, truly, I don't know where any of my wicks went, so I just improvised and I cut up an old handkerchief. I think it's made out of cotton, but I did test it, and it immediately started wicking water up, so should work. That looks pretty good to me. Self-watering pot. Let's hope for the best here. Okay, so for lack of options in this very second, I am just gonna use this small cup, the same cup that I put my corms in, because I feel like it will sit on top. Maybe not as deep as I would like, but it will sit on top, which means I can use this as a reservoir. And since this has its own drainage holes already, I can poke a wick through it and just have that be its water reservoir. I think that's what I'm gonna do for both of them actually. So let me grab another cup and it'll just kind of sit like that. It's not the prettiest setup, but I think it'll do for now. I'm just gonna cut another couple of strips to make a few more wicks. Okay, that should do it. I don't want to like force it too much. I'm gonna cut it like right here. And then when I add water to the reservoir, that should do the trick. So I'm gonna do that again. And there we go. Okay, moving on to another little repotting. This one's going to be pretty straightforward, but it's my Hoya Caudata Sumatra, another new one to my collection. This stuff, by the way, is not spider mites. It's just the polyfill it came in, but it is definitely time for me to get it out of this nursery pot. It's super flimsy, and I don't like it because it tends to make the whole plant fall over. It's not good. So I'm just going to repot it into this little pot that you've seen many a time now, and that should be pretty simple. You know, I'm not even mad at this kind of chunky barky mix. It's kind of the same stuff that the Alocasias were in, those other two Alocasias. Ooh, and the roots are clearly really happy with it. So I'm actually not going to disturb it too much. I'm just going to add a little bit of my mix at the bottom to fill out the pot, of course, and then my mix around it to stabilize it. I'm just going to backfill with what I have, but I'm actually not mad at that soil, so I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, this one just needs to be watered in, but we're done. Honestly, this one could probably use a trellis if anything, but I don't have any right now, so we're just gonna keep it moving. Okay, I thought it was done, but I actually remembered that I still have this Pothos Pearls in Jade, I believe, yes. And it has been in water for a super long time, and I really just want to pot it up now, so that is what I'm gonna be doing. It's really in here, hold on. Ooh, there we go. nice little root system. I feel like it should make for a fairly healthy transition into whatever pot I put it in. Okay, I truly did not know I had this many nursery pots and almost 0 cover pots. I'm gonna have to do some shopping, but for lack of a better option, I'm gonna use this nursery pot. It's not the same as I've been using, but it should work. Has a lot of holes though, so I'm definitely gonna need to put it on some type of tray to catch the excess water for now until I find a cover pot, but this one is gonna go right in here. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. Pretty much another straightforward repotting. Okay, that's it. Okay, time to do my labels before I forget. This one's already labeled.
Okay, it's watering time, one of my favorite parts, and yes, I always get messy with this, and it's mostly because I'm trying to film at the same time. Usually when I water my plants, I do water in place, and it's a lot less messy than this. But anyway, paper towels everywhere, a bit of spilling, definitely got my clothes wet as well, but I think it's just part of being a plant parent at this point.
All right, guys, that is it. That is all the repotting that I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed and you've made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like and the sub because it really helps my channel out. And I post weekly here on YouTube, all kinds of planty things, so also hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Also, as you can see, my collection is basically ever growing. So if you have any suggestions on either low maintenance plants or plants that you just think in general everybody should have, go ahead and comment below because I would love to take a look. I'm always searching. My wish list basically never shrinks. Oh, and once again, any products or anything you're curious about, linked below in the description. Check it out. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.